Good morning, everyone. Have a seat.
Thank you.
Let's get straight to the matter at hand. We're facing a significant liquidity challenge. I'm not here to sugarcoat it. Our financials have taken a turn for the worse, and we need to make some tough decisions. Let me show you why. Take a look at this number. The current ratio has dropped from 2.26 in 2022 and 1.89 in 2023. We're no longer in a comfortable position to cover short-term liabilities. And then the quick ratio, which tells us how well we can cover liabilities without relying on inventory, went from 1.95 to 1.7. And the cash ratio, which measures our ability to meet obligation with the just cash or cash equivalent, has dropped from 1.03 to 0.83. As a result, our working capital has fallen from 603,466 ringgit in 2022 to 539,901 in 2023. We can no longer pretend this is just a minor fluctuation. This ratio shows a clear deterioration of our liquidity position. We at risk of breaching our short-term obligation if we don't act fast. We already see the impact. Inventory is bloated, receivables are delayed, and cash inflow are inconsistent. If we do not address this issue immediately, we could be in a much worse position in just a few weeks. Izwan, you have been the front line. What's your assessment of our cash flow situation?
Well, our inventory level are holding up too much cash and we are seeing low payments from customers. We need to take action fast to tighten collections and move inventory. Otherwise, we won't have enough liquidity to cover our obligation.
Understood. Natasha, what's your strategy for addressing overdue payment?
We need to tighten creditors immediately. No more 60-day terms. We reduce it to 45 days. If clients don't comply, we apply penalties. It's time to be more aggressive with collections.
Sir, we also need to be careful not to alienate our clients. What if we incentivize early payment with a 2% discount for invoice paid within 10 days? This could speed up cash flow without making our client feel pressure.
Good. Now, we will combine both approaches, shorter term and early payment discount. Now, Izwan, what we can do about our inventory situation?
Well, we need to immediately reduce our stock levels. This isn't just about making more sales, it's about freeing up cash. We can start with targeted promotions to clear out slow-moving items and adjust our procurement strategy to avoid overstocking in the future.
Make it happen. We don't have time to wait. Awada, we're going to need a solid communication strategy. How do we present to this to shareholder?
We need to be transparent about this situation. Shareholder will appreciate the action we are taking, from tightening receivable to reducing inventory. We also need to position this as a short-term challenge with a long-term vision for stability and growth.
Exactly. But we also need to prepare for tough questions. Shareholders are going to ask why our ratio has slipped. We need to frame this as a corrective phrase, short-term pain for a long-term gain.
Right. Here's the action plan. Account receivable team, tighten credit term and roll out early payment discount immediately. Cash manager, slash inventory level aggressively and tighten procurement control. Investor relation team, develop a transparent communication strategy, focusing on the adjustment we're making and the long-term health of the company. If necessary, we will seek short-term financing to bridge the gap. Let's move quickly. This is not just a financial issue, it's a survival issue. We will reconvene in 2 weeks to assess our progress. Any question? No. Good. Let's get to work. Good afternoon, team.
Good afternoon, sir.
Have a seat.
Thank you, sir.
Let me start by presenting our current leverage ratio for 2022 and 2023. First, debt to equity ratio. In 2022, this stood at 0.34, meaning we had 0.34 cents of debt for every 1 ringgit of equity. In 2023, it increased to 0.4, reflecting a slight rise in our reliance on debt financing relative to equity. Second, debt to asset ratio. For 2022, the ratio was 0.26, meaning 26% of our total asset were financed by debt. In 2023, this rose slightly to 0.28, showing a modest increase in debt reliance relative to our total asset. Lastly, interest coverage ratio. In 2022, we achieved an impressive 21.93 times, meaning we generate RM21 ringgit and 93 cents in earning before interest and tax for every 1 ringgit of interest expense. In 2023, this decreased to 16.58 times, which, while still strong, reflect a decline in our ability to cover interest payment. Now, before we all start sweating bullets, let's hear from our risk managers. How much of a danger zone are we in with this ratio? Shaful, you're up.
Well, I wouldn't say we are in danger zone yet, more like the caution zone, the yellow light flashing but not the red. The debt to equity ratio increased from 0.34 to 0.4 isn't catastrophic, but it's moving in the direction of becoming a trend. It's like deciding to upgrade from instant noodle to real ramen, but at the end of the day, it's still noodles. We need to be cautious about taking on too much debt if you want to keep the financial stability intact.
Exactly. The debt to asset ratio increase is also modest, but it is a sign we are getting more comfortable with using debt. Just don't get too comfortable. We don't want to end up living on debt like a university student living off coffee and cheap pizza.
Right. So, it sounds like we are not in a crisis yet, but the trend is worth watching. Najmi, what do the industry benchmarks say?
Here the scoop. Our debt to equity of 0.4 is actually below the industry average of 0.5, so we are doing okay on that front. But here's the kicker. The interest coverage ratio of 16.58 times is still a bit lower than the industry norm of around 20 times. It's like running a marathon. But we are starting to feel the burn halfway through. We can keep going, but we might want to pace ourselves.
Got it. We're jogging, not sprinting. Now, operation managers, how do you feel about us potentially taking on more debt? Could it throw a wrench in our expansion plans?
Well, adding more debt could certainly slow things down. It's like trying to drive a car while carrying a heavy load on the road. It can be done, but it gets harder to steer and you don't want to hit a pothole. With more debt, we might have to cut back on expansion, slowing down those shiny new projects we have been excited about.
Exactly. Plus, if cash flow starts getting tight because of the higher debt payments, it's like trying to run a race with one shoe on. We will be fine for a bit, but the longer we go, the more awkward it gets. If we are taking on more debt, we need to make sure we are trimming excess costs elsewhere.
Alright. So we agree that a little debt is fine, but too much might cause some operational hiccups. We will need to keep a close eye on our cash flow and ensure we do not lose flexibility. Risk managers, what is your take on how we should structure this? Fixed rate, interest only payment?
I did say, fixed rate loans will give us the predictability we need to avoid surprises down the road. It's like locking in a fixed price for your groceries. You know exactly what to expect when you get to the register.
Right, and let's consider a small loan to start with. We can test the waters before diving in the head first. It's like dipping your toe in the pool to check the temperature before you cannonball.
Alright, here's the game plan. First, we pursue fixed rate to avoid future surprise. Second, we start with a smaller amount to keep up our option open. And the third one, we will streamline operation where possible to offset any extra debt payment. Are we all on the same page? Perfect. Let's finalize the details and get this plan in front of the board. Meeting adjourned. Good morning, teams. Okay, have a seat. Now, Let's address the declining sales and evaluate how efficiently we are utilizing our resource. Here's what we stand with the efficiency ratios. First, asset turnover ratios 0.31 times in 2022, dropping to 0.29 times in 2023. This shows we are generating less revenue from our assets. Second, inventory turnover ratio improved from 5 in 2022 to 6 in 2023, signaling faster inventory movement but possibly tighter stock levels. Lastly, receivable turnover ratio worsened from 119 days in 2022 to 131 days in 2023, indicating slower customer payment. Shaful, what do you make of this?
The increase in the inventory turnover ratio shows improvement in moving stock, but it might mean we are carrying less inventory, risking stockouts. We need to re-evaluate our inventory forecasting methods to ensure we are meeting demand without overstocking.
Agree. The decline in the asset turnover ratio might suggest underutilized assets such as a poorly performing store or excess warehouse space. A thorough review of asset performance and reallocating resources to high demand areas could improve overall efficiency.
Good point. Izwan, how do you think our sales strategy are impacting these ratios, especially the asset turnover ratio?
Well, the drop in the asset turnover ratio could be due to ineffective promotions or lack of focus on high margin products. By refining our sales strategies and investing in more targeted marketing campaigns, we could drive revenue and better utilize our assets. Additionally, we should consider cross-selling or bundling strategies to increase transaction values.
That's a valid point. Now, let's discuss workforce productivity. Natasha, how do you think this ties into our efficiency challenge?
Workforce productivity plays a key role, especially in operations and customer service. The delayed receivables turnover ratio might be linked to inefficiency in our accounts receivable process. Upskilling the team and providing training on payment follow-ups could help address this.
Additionally, the asset turnover ratio reflects how well our team on managing store operation and inventory. Introducing performance-based incentive and investing in training program can boost efficiency and morale, leading to better results.
Alright, let's summarize our action plan. First, inventory management. Re-evaluate stock forecasting and maintain a balance to prevent stock out. Second, asset optimization. Identify and repurpose underperforming asset. Third, sales strategy. Focus on targeted marketing and cross-selling to drive revenue. Fourth, receivable process. Improve workforce training and coordination to speed up collection. And the last one, workforce productivity. Enhance employee skills and introduce performance-based incentive. Does this cover everything? Final thought from Awada?
Regularly monitoring inventory and asset performance will ensure we stay ahead and respond to change effectively.
And refining our sales strategy will ensure we maximize revenue potential and align with operational efficiency.
Excellent. Let's get started on implementing these changes. Meeting adjourned. Good afternoon, teams.
Good afternoon, sir.
Is everything alright?
It's alright. We just had our lunches just now.
Okay. Thank you for being here. Let's begin by reviewing the latest profitability ratios. First, gross profit margin, 42.56% in 2022 and a slight dip to 42.5% in 2023. Marginal but concerning given our cost trends. Second, net profit margin, 36.1% in 2022, dropping to 33.71% in 2023, despite strong revenues, rising costs eating into our profit. Third, return on asset, 11.09% in 2022, down to 10.02% in 2023, signaling less efficient use of our asset. And last, return on equity, 14.91% in 2022, declining to 14.01% in 2023. Return to shareholders as dividends. Shaful, how have our strategies impacted these numbers?
Thanks, Chief. Our reliance on deep discount to boost booking has certainly affected the net profit margin. While it kept occupancy rates stable, it had profitability. I suggest focusing on premium services and targeted marketing campaigns for high margin offerings like event hosting and luxury experience.
Good point. Izwan, what's driving the cost issue?
Well, our biggest challenge is inefficiency during low accompany periods. We are overstaffed and running at full capacity even when demand is low. Implementing flexible staffing models and energy-saving initiatives could significantly cut costs.
Adding to that, outdated processes are another issue. For instance, we are still manually managing certain inventory tasks, leading to waste. This transition to an automated system could streamline operation and reduce costs further.
Understood. Awada, how do we compare with the industry benchmark?
Our gross profit margin of 42.5% is on par with the industry average of around 42%. However, the net profit margin of 33.71% lags behind the 38% benchmark for top performing hospitality business. The return of asset and return of equity decline are mild but indicate room for improvement, especially with asset utilization.
To address this, I recommend exploring dynamic pricing strategies to capitalize on peak seasons, along with renegotiating supplier contracts to bring down costs. These measures could boost both the gross profit margin and the net profit margin.
Great suggestion. To summarize, here's our action plan. First, shift marketing, focus to premium services and high margin offerings. Second, implement flexible staffing models and energy saving initiatives. Third, transition to automated system to streamline inventory management. And lastly, introduce dynamic pricing and renegotiate supplier contracts. Any final thought?
Well, we should monitor these changes closely to measure their impact on profitability ratios.
Agree. A phased rollout might help us mitigate risk while adapting to new strategies.
Perfect. Let's move forward with this plan and present it to the executive team. Meeting adjourned.